Good evening, everybody. This is the local pundit, and this is your data show with Paddy and Aaron. How is everybody this evening? We have a few people in the chat already. How are you, Aaron?
I'm fantastic as usual.
Good,
Could be a
good.
little bit, could be a little better if we'd have got a win the other night, but we'll be okay. We'll be okay.
Okay, well, I am in good form. I have had 1 hour sleep. Um, it's like I had a whole night's sleep, so I'm wide awake at the moment. Anyway, I've even had some food, so I'm kind of buzzing now compared to usual. Maybe I won't be yawning so much tonight. It
There we
is 3 a.m. my time in the morning. Everybody else in the house is asleep. And we are going to have an interesting show tonight. Tonight's show is a Deja Vu Data. Is Wrexham's history on repeat? So, what we are going to do tonight is we are going to have a quick look at the league as normal to start. We are going to hit the data for Northampton Town, but I will tell you now it's not amazing. It's not very much different
go.
than last week. So we will fly through that data and then we are going to hit some stats and data for our home versus away matches. And I have pulled up the data for home and away for the last two seasons just to get an idea of how they compare. So for me, that's the meat and bones of the actual show tonight. So we will get to it when we get there. So stay with us. First up in the Discord, I'm going to shout out the Discord because Mad Al got first in the chat. And I'm going to say he did that because I posted to everybody in the Discord nice and early, and Drew missed out. So I'm kind of happy about that. Sorry, Drew, you can't win it so often. Um, so if you want to shout out the chats there, I will post our Discord for
Sure
anybody who
will.
might be here.
All right, let me go up here to the top. All right, so first, Matt Al. He was first. And then Drew came in just seconds later, just missed out. Sorry about it, Drew. And well done, Drew. And then let's see, Chicky Brewer came in. So, hey, Josh, Al, Drew. Um, then we had Drew does whatever. Should have posted immediately when I saw it. Your boy's tired. Mowed the yard, pressure washed the sidewalk and driveway, and then dropped off a kid at soccer practice.
So is he walking home from soccer practice?
Yeah, do you got to go back and get him, or are we just leaving him there? Oh shoot! Edited a bunch of photos today too. Oh shoot! All right, he said he did say, at least I beat Nikki D today. Oh,
No sign of Nikki so far. Oh, he is. Yeah,
oh
he's
yeah,
there.
he's in there. He's in there. Let's see. Ken's in and he's waiting. Uh, Chicky Brewer. I've been watching TV and I'm so tired. Um, let's
I
see.
have been watching Ken's coffee show.
I
Excellent,
haven't caught the one from today. I need to catch it. I need to catch it.
excellent today. Bit
Awesome.
different from all our other content, but really good,
Really
really
good.
enjoyable.
Awesome.
And when I saw it was like an hour 15 minutes, I was like, whoa! But I listened to every minute of it.
Oh,
So if anybody has not done it yet, um, throw it on maybe 1.5 speed if you're in a rush. But excellent show.
awesome. Let's see. Murray from SoCal's in. Uh, some who's this guy? Josh Anthony. Never heard of him. Never heard of him. Nikki D did get in. Yo yo. Matt Al. Great that Mindy's had another international call up. Yes, it is. I'm glad. I was wondering if he'd get it or not, just because he'd been coming off the injury and he hadn't played a ton. So I was actually literally thinking about that today, whether he'd get it or not, and then it popped and found out that he did. So super happy for him. Josh, we call that a power nap, Paddy. Speaking of, Hip Karma in the house. I'm sneaking in at work. There you go. That's the way I do it. Let the boss pay you, local pundit. Let's see. Scroll down through here. Catch all the good ones. Matt out. He missed the Discord. I just happened onto it tonight. There we go.
He couldn't just give it to me, huh? He couldn't give me
He
the win.
wouldn't let you have it. Wouldn't
No.
let you have it. Glinda Bersey, she's in. Marie, great job, Hip Karma. Watch your interview with Ken. I gotta watch that. I meant to watch it and I totally spaced it. Okay. Hey, watch it, but oh, protesting. Okay. Oh, thanks, Marie from SoCal. Let's see. Hip Karma was great. And Nikki D says, I'm slacking this week. I've already worked 50 hours. Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I call that slacking, but yeah. I'll challenge you to an arm wrestling match. Oh, shoot. Ruth H is in the house. Hi, Ruth. Matt Al. I was watching cat videos and saw the alert. There you go. And Ken, can these two make stats sexy? You bet your sweet ass we can. Bet your sweet ass.
Okay, so let's jump into it then. How is the leaderboard looking?
All right, well, let's pull it up and let's see what we got here. So we've got Birmingham City at the top on 22 points.
Surprise.
Yep, only 8 games played, so they actually still have a game in hand on us. Us in second with 9 games played. We've got 17 points. Mansfield Town. Good little run from Mansfield. You got to give them credit. Now, they haven't played the best teams, but you can only beat who's in front of you, and they've done that. So they've won 4 in a row, I believe. 4 in a row.
They have.
And they're on 17 points, so good for them.
With a game in hand.
Yeah, and a game in hand, honestly. Absolutely. Lincoln City in fourth, also with a game in hand. They're on 15 points. Stockport back up in the top 6. They still have a game in hand. They're on 15 points. Blackpool in 6th. They're moving on up. They did finally draw one. They were on a 4-win streak and then drew this Tuesday. They're on 15 points.
Didn't they lose? Didn't they draw it at the very end in extra time?
I don't know for sure, actually.
Unless I'm mixing up my matches, they lost it at like 90 plus 4 or something.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I did not look into when it happened. I didn't go that deep into that. I knew of the result, but I didn't look into it. Let's see here. Barnsley just outside. They're on 15 points, and then Wickham, they're coming up 8th place, 14 points. Stevenage, who just beat us, they're on 14 points. So really, from us down to Stevenage in 9th, there's only 3 points separating us. So if we lose and a bunch of teams win, we could drop all the way out of the playoffs. So,
as it stands, just with the one game in hand, Mansfield, Lincoln, and Stockport could all jump us in points with a 3-point win that we don't have a match with. So yes, that is something to be aware of. Although the picture looks all rosy in the garden, it's a little bit deceptive. And I said this last season, I much prefer looking at the league kind of on a game by game basis, or certainly average points per game basis as well. So that is something I will be doing in the near future. Next week, We have a international break after the Tuesday match. Now the Tuesday match is a cup match, so I won't be doing any specific stats on that. Um, so next week is a free week, and we have just hit our 10 matches. So I am going to put together a bit of a different show, and we're going to go over the results so far.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to compare it to the last 2 seasons for the starting 10 matches as well.
Okay.
And we will see what I can do special for that show as well.
Yeah.
Got a few things in my mind, but
Yeah.
we may have some extra guests if I do what I'm thinking, and if my guests are willing to turn up. So
Yeah.
leave it with me, and I promise I'll get a thumbnail up a little bit earlier, so you have an idea what's going on. But talking about thumbnails, I think Josh did a nice job on the thumbnail today. What does everyone think in the chats? Give a score out of 10. What do you think for this week's thumbnail?
Yeah.
Now, Josh made it, but it was my idea. So if it's good, it was me. If it's bad, then I'll blame Josh. Um, okay, so
All right. Real quick, there was a couple
yeah,
I wanted to hit on late, a little lower down.
okay,
So just because I thought it was interesting, Charlton, who was a team that we all thought were going to be up and
yeah,
challenging, they've lost 3 in a row.
and Birmingham next.
Yep, and they have Birmingham next. Huddersfield Town has lost 4 in a row, and they've got Barnsley next. So not an easy match. So yeah, it was just interesting. And Peterborough's down in 16th. They've lost 2 in a row. So
I'm
it's
gutted for Peterborough. They have such nice fans, who do excellent podcasts and don't like clickbait anyone or don't make stupid comments just to get the name out there. But no, delighted Peterborough are in 16th.
yeah.
But that's me. I'm petty like that. Someone makes a stupid comment and I kind of don't maybe take it too much to heart.
Oh shoot! All right. Do you want to look at the relegation zone real quick? Just to throw it out there. Right now, we got Crawley Town have fallen down. They're really dropping. Burton Albion have still just not been able to get things lined out. Shrewsbury, which is not a surprise. Cambridge, also not a surprise. So those are the 4 teams right now that are in the relegation zone. So I think that's all we got from that. All right.
Okay, so before we start with match stats, just going to give a quick update on the average for the season, where we're sitting. So here's back to my little graphic. And we have played 9 matches, current points 17. Average per match is 1.89. That will give us an estimate of 86.9 for the end of the season. And that puts us just on the border between 3rd and 4th spot for average end of season totals. So we have slipped just a little bit, but we'll be up 2nd to 3rd if we take 3 points in the next one. So yeah, I expect us to climb back up a little bit, but that's where we're sitting comfortably in around the playoffs with these type of results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're doing good. I know we've talked about it before, but I don't think, even with a couple bad results, it's not the end of the world. I think if we'd all said it after 9 matches, this is where we'd be sitting. I don't think anybody'd be upset about it. So
yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm not unhappy at all.
Yeah.
It's just one of these things when you start really high, then you're starting to turn down. Whereas if we started with weaker results and then we're climbing now, everyone would be, yes, yay, great. But c'est la vie. Okay, so this is the bottom end of the graphic, and we can see coming up here, we had a win, a draw, and then a loss. So again, this graphic is showing 3rd place at the moment. And if we get 20 points in the next match, if we get our 3, that will put us in second again, on average for the end of the season.
Yeah.
So doing good, doing well, kind of on the cusp of second, third.
Yeah. Okay.
Kim has a little comment here I want to bring up. I just spotted. Local pundits should have are Peterborough going to be relegated this year? And invite a posh guy back on.
There you go. Very good, Kim. Very good. Oh, shoot.
Right.
Ruby is absolutely not stalking Mad Al on YouTube. Just a massive coincidence. Something going on there.
Yeah.
Gotta watch that Ruby. Gotta watch her.
Okay, so who's our opponents this weekend?
Northampton Town. Or Northampton, I guess. How do we say that? Are we saying it Northampton or Northampton? I think it's Northampton, correct?
I would say the H. I would say Hampton.
Hampton?
But it just depends on your accent. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to get yelled at. Sometimes I say I'm a hillbilly.
Let people...
Sometimes I say these names weird and I get yelled at. So.
Well, it's not as important in the grand scheme of things as is it called Derry or Londonderry. That's a bit of a important one, but Northampton or Northampton, don't care.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Right. Okay, I'm going to pull down that social banner because it's slightly in the way. 2 seconds. So, with the league rankings for all our different areas here, nothing too interesting. Anything in particular stand out to you?
Well, not really. I mean, we obviously we look a lot better in a lot of these. Not all of them, but I think goals per match right now, which our goals per match were higher and we're starting to drop, which is a concern. It's something to keep an eye on. So right now we're down to 1.6 goals per match, which is 7th best in the league. They're at 1.3, which is good for 13th. Goals conceded we're still at 0.8, which is 4th best, which is, that's pretty good. It's less than a goal per match. So, that's pretty solid.
Definitely.
Yeah, and they're giving up 1.6 per match, which is 17th. So neither one of us have a lot of possession. They have a little bit more, which, that doesn't surprise us. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised, though, in this match if we have more possession. It seems like one of those games where we may end up with some more possession. I could be wrong, but we'll see how it plays out. Clean sheets 5. There's nothing here. Nothing too crazy. Is there anything that you pops out at you?
The difference, I suppose, is to consider Stevenage versus them. Very different teams.
Yeah.
Stevenage was very heavy on the defense, and were very solid in defense, whereas these guys are not.
Yeah.
They're very hit and miss. Like, obviously they can score. Every team in the league can score. So if you let them, you might be in trouble. They have wobbled a couple of teams occasionally, but that's it. When they're bad, they're kind of pretty bad. And it's home as well. Look, we've been solid at home. So I would expect us to remain solid at home as well. But we wait and see. We've had 2, I suppose, not great matches. So, but they were away. So I would certainly be positive going into this one.
Right.
All the weak spots are the same weak spots from week to week for us. But they're pretty much in areas that are not critical. It's great that our goals per match are 7th and 4th for conceding. Right. That's where you want them.
Yeah.
In the important stats. So, moving along, nice and fast. Okay, next up we have stats in the league average. Points per goal 1.89. They have one wins, draws, and losses. Obviously, we're nicely up there because of our league positions. Goals scored per game. They can see they are scoring 1.25 on average versus our 1.56, but our goals conceded is much lower.
Yeah.
So when you balance those two out, yeah,
Yeah.
quite significant. Clean sheets, they are down at 12%, which when you consider the league average is 29, that's significant. You know, they do let goals in and we score goals at home. Pretty much simple as that. Um, lead defending rate, 67% is not bad. We have a lead defending rate of 71%. So if you allow them to get in front, they may very well go more defensive and just defend for dear life. You know, we've got our score, we've got our potential win. We're gonna protect it. So don't let them score. However, the next one I did find really interesting. Average minutes scored for the first goal, 11. So they come out fast when they do score. Now that may be a slightly misleading fact. Like they may not have scored first that often. So it might just have happened quickly in those couple of matches. But it's still significantly low in that they're coming out immediately. So they will be attacking first and maybe defending later if they get in a position that they have something to defend. Because some of their higher matches where they have lost are 3 goals or a bit high, you know, kind of the higher end. So they have to chase it and they just have to leave their back open. Because there's no point sitting there and defending a loss.
Yeah, you know what is a little concerning with that stat is if you look at our stat that would kind of go with that, average minute conceded first goal is 10 for us. So they like to score early and we like to concede early.
Now that is a perfect example of a misleading stat. Because that stat has been not applicable for the last that has only just come up. So
just came up, right?
It's based on one stat.
That's fair. Right.
So we had not conceded the first goal. So it was literally this last match that made that
was the first one.
That one. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So
fair enough.
Misleading.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now home versus away stats. So obviously our home stats are pretty high. 3 points per game. So every one we've won so far. Team scored first 100% at home. Average minutes leading 66, 73% is pretty high. And the opposite then for Northampton. 33% team scored first. 27% average leading minutes, 54% level. So they kind of hold off to draw quite a bit. Non-crucial goals scored at home, 6. So we are adding to our tally when we're at home. We're collecting a couple of extra goals and we're much more comfortable on the win at home. They're not just sliding one. Non-crucial goals conceded 2. So that's not too bad for us, really. Clean sheets at home, 50%. That has slipped a little bit, but not too badly. They have 0 clean sheets when away, so none.
That's good. That's good. What do we got here? Yeah. Okay. Goals scored away 3 and home 11, and they are even 5-5 home and away on goals scored. So that's interesting. It doesn't seem that being at home or away changes much for them as far as their goals scored. But for us, obviously, it's a huge thing. And it has been a huge thing, and I think we'll get into some of that later on as to our home and away form.
Yes, we are indeed. Okay. Now, moving on to the teams. Not a lot of change in our FOTMOB top five. Max Kluwer did move up, um, so he now has the highest FOTMOB scoring of any of our players. And will he be playing the match this weekend?
Probably not. I'm
No.
I'm not allowed to talk about players anymore. I get in trouble.
Okay. So who's next to be injured? O'Connell, Dobson, Lee, or Barnett?
Who's on their team? Guthrie. Guthrie looks like I think Guthrie is the next. I'm definitely not saying anything about any of our players.
Okay. Arthur is sitting out at 7.19. Their keeper, Lee Burge, 6.45. I had a look at their matches, and the keeper points have fluctuated up and down. So he has had some good matches where he scored really highly, and he has gone down into the like 5.5s in some matches. Now, we know that's affected a lot by the number of goals and shots that come in as well, and your defense. If it lets you down, it's going to hammer your score as a keeper. But a bit of a hit and miss in general with the team slash keeper. Okay, interesting. I've thought that. What do you think of their scoring pattern?
It's either you could look at it two different ways. It's either a good thing because they're getting goals from a lot of different players, or you could say they don't have great players, and so they don't have a player that's scoring a lot of goals for them. So I don't know. It could go either way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they've scored 8. 3 defenders, 2 midfield, and 3 forwards
Right.
have scored their goals.
Yeah. So you're assuming
But they scored
the
9. Sorry.
assumption would be that the defenders are scoring on corners.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair assumption.
Now, interestingly, I was listening to a podcast during the week, and one of the things that was picked out was their set pieces.
Yeah.
That because they do have weaknesses in general around the team, they have made a lot of effort with their corners and their set pieces in order to try and pull a few goals from those. And it appears that they're doing okay.
Yeah.
For those. So, who's going to be taking our corners this weekend?
Well, I'd say we'll probably stick with O'Connor, taking at least the ones from the left. It seemed like he's been taking I guess the right corner. He's been taking them, putting in swingers, and then you'd assume they'll probably go back to Elliott Lee on the other side. I wish they wouldn't, but I don't know if we've got anybody else to take them. So, yeah. See, I know.
You're getting props.
got my thinking cap on today, guys. No worries. We're all good. That's right.
What do you think of our scoring pattern? We have 4-3-3-2-1-1. Marriott, Lee, Clewert, Ollie Palmer, Cannon, and Fletcher.
I think it's great. I think that's good. I think you want your attackers scoring, which we've got Palmer and Marriott who've started most of our matches, and they're scoring. Marriott with the most. Now, the one thing I would say though is I think Jack's on 3 starts since he's scored. I know for 2 for sure.
Yeah.
Could be. I think it's 3 since
I think it's
scored.
3. Yeah.
So that's
Concerning.
it's concerning, or maybe it's a reason to start Mullen on Saturday. I don't know. I mean, that's going to be a Parkey decision. Now, I will say this: in his post-game interview, Parkey did not seem happy with the team that played. He seemed like he wasn't happy with the effort. Now, I don't know that that's directed at Jack. I think Jack actually played halfway decent. But I wouldn't be surprised to see changes again. And it wouldn't surprise me to see Mullen starting. Uh, since Jack's not scoring at the moment.
Since you brought it up there about the work rate for Marriott, when last season there was comments made by quite a few people, and probably me as well, that Mullen is doing too much off the ball,
Mm-hmm.
that he
Yeah.
is running everywhere, chasing things down that he's not going to get, and all of this. Do you potentially think that is a Parky trait rather necessarily than a Mullen, and that maybe it's Parky kind of expects that, and Jack is not doing it as much as Mullen is? So my point is this a Mullen thing, or has he been told to do it?
I think they're being told. I think Jack does it too. Because Jack's working too. I mean, he's chasing things around. I think he's looked very similar. So it wouldn't surprise me if it is a Parkey, if that's Parkey wanting his strikers to do that. If he's wanting that player playing that role to do that every time, to chase, put pressure on the goalkeeper, chase the ball around, even by himself. It's almost like a one-man press sometimes, where he's just up there chasing around. He's not really doing a lot, but he's doing enough to put pressure on to make them maybe take a quicker kick than they want to, or So I don't think it's affecting things a lot, but it does kind of hurry them a little bit. You don't want them to be too comfortable back there. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that's a Parkey initiative.
Okay, Ruby is off to Middle Earth. Have a great night,
fun,
all.
Ruby.
I don't get that. I assume there's some joke I'm missing.
I assume she's going to watch. She's going to watch some sort of Lord of the Rings show.
Lord of the Rings. The second
season.
That's
out, isn't it? Yeah, that's so she might be going to watch that. Yeah, I need to catch up on it. I'm a couple episodes behind.
Yeah, I'm not watching that in the slightest. Kim has a comment here. Haaland doesn't chase. Just saying.
Well, but according to I can't remember who it was, but Haaland is obviously a League 2 striker. That's
that was Keane.
It was Keane. Yeah, that's who it was. It's a League 2 striker. Haaland. Yeah,
I so want Roy Keane to be our manager at some point. I really do.
It's interesting. I'm surprised that he hasn't taken another managerial job.
Yeah.
Are you? I mean, because he seems pretty good. I mean,
he's just too old school for modern sensibilities.
Probably. That's probably true.
How I'll delicately phrase it.
That's fair enough. That's probably true. Yeah.
Parkey seems to keep his F-bombs for the dressing room in the middle of a match. I don't quite think Roy Keane does. I think he would happily be dropping a few at the cameras following him around when they're getting a little too close. But yeah, you remember did you hear that there were rumors that Roy Keane was asked to be our coach?
I know. I didn't hear that.
But... Yeah, he said it was all rumor, that he hadn't been approached. But yeah, it was quite funny when he was talking about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Jake Roberts What annoyed me the most the other day was the stupid cute flicks the players were trying to pull off, but basically every one of them failed, going straight to the opposition. Are we
I
talking
think
about Fletcher?
I think that was probably some of it, but also some of the short passing. And I know we talked about this in the uh, in the show afterwards, after the game, talking about should we be making some shorter passes, and I think there was some of that where we were trying to make some short, quick passes, and they just weren't coming off, and every one of them seemed like we turned the ball over. So I wonder if he's talking about some of that. But yeah, there were also a couple what I would consider cute that weren't necessarily greatly, a high percent pass too. So yeah, Jake, I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about on that, but I know I understand what you're saying for sure.
I started yawning. Oh, 3 a.m. Okay.
Wake up.
Right, next up, we are going to move off Northampton Town because they're not too interesting this week. They'll become very interesting if we don't beat them this weekend, but I don't think there's a high statistical chance of that one. So I'll leave it at that before I jinx anything anymore. Right, let's get rid of that.
Why, Josh? Done. Yawn. No.
Okay, now, so this is just a reminder of what we need for the end of the season, because I'm going to pull up the stats from the last 2 seasons. So second place would be 27 wins and 11 draws. And then if you're looking at being inside the playoffs, it's 21 wins and 10/11 draws in the season. Okay, so here's some stats. So this season we have 4 wins at home, no draws, no losses, and away we have 1 win, 2 draws, and 2 losses so far. Now, how does that compare to the last 2 seasons? Well, last season we had 17 wins, 3 draws, 3 losses at home, and we had 9, 7, and 7 away. Obviously, that is lower than we had in the National League because our National League record was record-setting. Is exactly the word for it. We smashed that record, so we had 22 wins with 1 draw as a home record, which was just nuts.
Yeah, insane.
The away, then we had 12 wins and 8 draws and 3 losses in that season. Now, it's hard to play with those figures, so we have them in percentages down below, which make it just a little bit clearer. So, League Two is kind of what we need to be basing ourselves off. And immediately, there's a massive difference with the home and away.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We're definitely got to get some away wins. Got to get some more away wins. I hope it doesn't become an Achilles heel of this team this season, but it could be. It's just interesting. I know it's harder to play away, but it's just so. It's interesting that you can be so good at home, and we've only lost over the past 2 seasons, and including part of this season, only lost 3 games away or at home.
At home.
And then everything else has been away. So it's so, yeah, I don't know.
It's ridiculous. Add the draws in as well, and you have four draws and 3 losses.
Yeah,
at home in the last 3 years. Well, 2 years.
Yeah,
so plus the start of this.
Yeah. It's incredible. I mean, the home form is incredible. But the away form is, I don't know. It's weird. Where did
Dodgy.
we end up? Now, this may be a question that you may not have the info for. Where did we end up in the form table at the end of last season compared to the rest of League Two? Do you remember? I knew we got up higher towards the end.
The home was first.
Mm-hmm.
So we took that out, and I think it was something like seventh for the away.
Okay.
Maybe fourth, somewhere between fourth and seventh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't that bad. The one thing that I did notice from the form tables when I was looking at last season is the final 8 matches.
Yeah.
Wowzer, did we go on a run of points in that
Yeah.
last section?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was huge.
Yeah, that really made the difference. That last few games was a hell of a run, and it really cleaned up some of that. It really cleaned up some of that for us, and kind of because I know at one point our away form was way down the table at one point.
Absolutely, it was. Yeah.
So I think we cleaned some of that up with that late run we had. But yeah.
Kim says, piss poor performances away are the problem, not necessarily the results.
I'll take a piss poor performance if we get a good result.
If you get the result. Quality town.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take a piss poor performance if we can get a result. Let's see. Josh's idea of prep is go live. That's true.
Okay, Matt Al. Yeah. 9, 7, and 7.
Can we get 10 away wins this year? That would be helpful. That would be helpful if we can get 10 away wins this season.
Yeah, look, to be honest, that shouldn't be a crazy number. 10 away wins. If you want to be up near the top of the table, that should be expected. Because we are significantly different on home and away versus other teams when you have a look at them. We really are such a big differential between the two. So we need to minimize that this year. Absolutely. Yeah. And I do think it's pretty true that if you're going to be up at the top of the table, the expectation is you're going to have good results against difficult teams, right? You're going to have to, because you have to get the points from the big boys as well, or you're not going to be near the top of the table. But for me, the difference is when you're a very good team, how easily can you take the points off the weaker teams? Yeah. And if you look at our matches last season versus Stockport's matches last season, I think there was a clear and obvious difference in how easily they went out and beat the weaker teams.
Yeah.
There was less close results. There was less falling behind and having to come back from, they were dominating, and it didn't look like they were going to lose against weak teams. Whereas we pulled off some dodgy matches where we were trying to survive, and then we also had bad away matches.
Well, okay, so let's just real quick. So we've beaten Crawley away. Okay. So let's say let me throw some names out there, and you tell me if you think we can get a win away. Cambridge.
Yeah.
We should be able to win that away. Shrewsbury. Yeah. That's a winnable game. Burton.
Yeah.
Winnable game. Leighton Orient, we got a draw. So Northampton. We play them at home on the weekend. Is it a winnable away? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Bristol Rovers. Winnable.
Yeah, the problem is I'm not going to say any of these aren't.
Yeah.
It it just becomes though. How many have you called out
I,
now? 6.
we've got. I think we've got 5 wins if we were to win those games now. But now listen to this though: Rotherham, Peterborough, Huddersfield, Wigan, Charlton.
We've already beaten Peterborough.
Sorry, we did beat Peterborough. That's right. Wait. Don't we have to? Oh no, we had Crawley at home, didn't we? What was that? Was Crawley
Crawley
away or
was
Crawley at home?
no
Crawley was at home.
Crawley was home when we won. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I had that mixed up in my head. So yeah, our one win was Peterborough. You're right. Okay, Wigan, Charlton, Reading, Bolton, which we drew with them away, which is a good result.
That was good.
Exeter. We just lost Stevenage. Wickham, Barnsley, Blackpool, Stockport, Lincoln, Mansfield, and then Birmingham we lost to already. So 10 wins, 10 away wins, not that easy in this league, I don't think.
No,
Finding
but like
in there, it's doable, but that's yeah.
Yeah.
When you look at it like that, I it's tough. To get into 10 would be tough, if we're honest.
Okay, but let's. If you take the 10 worst teams, whoever you think the 10 worst teams are, right?
Yeah.
What do you think the chances are of coming away with 5 wins and 5 draws in those 10 weakest teams, or any combination where you score that many points?
Yeah, I mean, it's
So 20 points out of 30. You should be, if you're going to be up
should
the top.
be able to. That's fair. Right. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah.
But with our form, would you be comfortable thinking we'll do that?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. That's the thing. That's what I was trying to look at the 10 because there's not a. I don't know that there's 10 that you would look at and be like, oh yeah, we definitely win that one. We could win that one away. I don't know that there's 10. Yeah, Kim right here with that. That's kind of why we were. Oh, I hit the wrong one. Yeah. 10 away wins might get you an automatic promotion spot. Yeah, and that's kind of what we're looking at the moment. I mean, and obviously, like, we may not get to the automatics, but it's possible, and that's what it's going to take to get there. Because we got to come up with, somewhere in the ballpark of 92 points.
Yeah, I very much see it being possible that we are going to have a lower average points this season. I think there's
you mean as a league,
yes.
or us?
Well, whoever needs the average points this season. So, I think there is such a chunk in the top half that can pull points off each other that there could be a lot more sharing of points, which would lead to a scenario where you come into the end of the season and you could have 10 teams all fighting into the top 6, significantly that close within a match, or definitely 2 matches of each other.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise. I mean, obviously it's early, but yeah, I mean it's there's not, like, other than Birmingham, there's not a giant breakaway yet, which, we're 9 games in. Some of the teams are only 8 games in. Birmingham on 22 points is, they're starting to pull away. Yeah. But we're on 17, and if you drop all the way down to, I mean, just to get, 9th is 14. That's 1 win. Okay. So then you drop down to get another point down further, and there's 4 teams on 13 points. That goes all the way down to 13th. And then
how many of them have a game in hand?
They're right. A handful.
Yeah.
and then you get below that, and it's you're not. Yeah, it's that this could be a really tight league. This could be this could be a hell of an interesting league by the end of the season. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. It might be stressful,
Okay.
but it'll be fun.
We have a few more stats, so I'm going to move on to the next one. All right. So we have points per match, home and away, and 3 average because we haven't lost yet. At home, 1 point for away, and then comparing that to League Two and the National League. Well, obviously we're still way up there for home points. 2.91 was a ridiculous result for the National League. So we can afford to drop some at home, but 1 versus 1.48, we absolutely need to pull that up. That's lagging behind.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, goals scored per match. Home, we're sitting at 2.75. Last season, we had 2.7. So that's pretty much on target. Away, 0.6. And last season, 1.17.
Yeah.
So we need to score away as well.
Yeah.
We need to be giving ourselves the opportunity to win those matches. And we had the 2 draws, 0-0. Which in themselves were good results. Or certainly the Bolton one was a good result.
Yeah.
So like scoring, you can score 5 goals and still lose a match. So scoring on its own is not the end of the world. But that amount of goals in our away matches so far is shockingly low, and it's not a great sign if it doesn't change. And then goals conceded, 0.75 at home and 0.8 away. So our conceded goals is pretty static. And if you look at it to last season, we are down on both metrics. So 1.09 for the home and 1.17 for away. So we have taken a chunk off those so far. Which is a good result.
Good.
And we have said so far what has gotten us to this position is our defense. Our defense is much more solid.
And actually, even our goals conceded is actually better than they were in the National League season, also, both home and away. Yeah. So I mean, that's a good sign. We just got to start scoring. We got to start banging some goals in.
Away, at home we can do it.
You're right. Yeah, right. Away.
And that's the thing. It would not have taken a large number of goals to majorly get us some more points away, because the scores were so low in general. Like we didn't need to win. 1 goal would have won us most of the matches.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really I'd have to go back to, other than the Birmingham game, they were all a 1 goal. Within 1 goal.
Well, the 2 draws, obviously.
Yeah, so those could have been wins if we scored 1.
Yeah, and then it would have been a draw for the loss.
Yeah. So yeah, it's we need some away goals. What the hell? What's going on? We gotta score away.
Okay, so then again, just looking at percentages, which might show it a little bit better. Now, goals conceded actually works out to be basically the same as a percentage of home versus away. So that's pretty even. But there's no great variance on goals conceded home or away last season. So interestingly, like your away match seems to depend simply on scoring, not on defending. Your defending, it doesn't seem to take a dip because you're away, but it seems to be your attacking. That's a weird kind of a statistic to run across.
Yeah. It's kind of weird.
Because you can lose matches away by conceding a lot more, but we're not conceding a lot more. We're just not scoring.
Right. Yeah. That is the. Yeah, I wonder what that would take a deeper dive to try to figure out what is the problem away. Which I think we've been trying to figure this out for 2 seasons now. What the hell's wrong with this away? What's wrong with this away form? We just can't figure it out, and it's so strange that we struggle to score away. That's because it's not. It doesn't make sense. Like it's not. There's no real like. It's not like we're making major changes. You know what I mean? We could show up with the same team. We line up in the same way, same players. We do everything basically the same, and for some reason we just can't score when we're away. I don't get it. Let's see.
Yeah. So then goal scored percentage really shows it. 82% of goals scored at home, and 18% away.
Yeah.
Because we're scoring extra goals when we're at home. You know, we saw that in the statistic earlier of non-important goals.
Yeah.
But we're just doing none. We're doing none of it away. But the one good positive about that is it would take very little to change those results.
Right.
A single goal in more matches. One extra goal in some of these matches will make a significant difference to the points total and percentage totals then that we're looking at here.
Yeah. There's Kim. Any offense at all in the box, and you'd expect at least one more goal.
Yeah. A bit more tactically sound movement and getting into good positions. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, against the weak defense, Bruce McFarland.
Well, certainly against a weak defense, yes. That's in response to Kim's any offense at all in the box. And you'd expect a goal against a weak defense, certainly, yes.
Yeah.
And then Mad Al, there's no racecourse noise away. That shouldn't make a difference, really. Should it?
I mean, I've played. I don't know. I've played sports growing up, and to be honest, being at home, that didn't, for me personally, that never bothered me. Now, obviously, I wasn't playing at this level, and so the noise is kind of a different thing. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't be as noisy. I don't know. I mean, it maybe it could break your concentration every once in a while, but I can't imagine that makes that big of a difference. It shouldn't make that big of a difference, but who knows?
Yeah, like physiologically, if you have all the fans shouting for you, it's going to push your adrenaline.
Right.
But you would assume doing it day in and day out, that would moderate itself a little bit, and I would assume that once you kind of are doing this as a professional all the time, it shouldn't make that much of a difference anymore. Now, the flip side of that coin is, okay, let's assume it does make a difference. Then you feed on the light side when you have everybody cheering for you. But then you need to get a bit of a mentality like James McLean, old Jimmy, who feeds on the dark side.
Yeah.
And just soaks in the abuse and the hate and the cheering of the other side. And he seems perfectly fine with it.
Yeah. So hip karma, it does make a difference. Players hearing the crowd. Remember what last season, what Moles said about hearing the fans sing negative things about them and how it made them feel. Yeah, but that's a little different because we haven't had that this season. We haven't had the negative from our crowd towards our players. Our crowd's been great. Even when we were losing, they've been great in the away matches. So I don't know that necessarily is the same thing. But yeah, I mean, if you are saying negative things, maybe we don't travel well. Murray, that might be the understatement of the century. We definitely don't travel well. I don't know why.
Before I answer Marie, I'm going to jump back to Hip Karma's one there because
Yeah, go ahead.
obviously I know from listening to her interview with Ken of all the positives she does and helps people through this. Now, the simple thing to say is that's a very weak mentality, and you should be expecting a stronger mindset from professional players. Now that's a longer conversation, and I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate because I do understand both sides. I do, but that's one thing that you can potentially throw out at some players is look, they potentially are too mentally weak if they allow this to affect them in such a way, Okay, so then maybe we don't travel well. Well, my answer to that is what teams at League 2 level get to fly to some of their destinations. Okay, we have been hiring planes to get them to certain destinations since last season, and we've done it again this season. And an image was put up in Discord of the flight home from one of our last matches, Leighton, I think it was. So they're getting treated very nicely, unless they don't like flying, and it's making them airsick. But
maybe
they have nice fancy coaches when they're going a bit closer. They're getting on planes, and everything has been done for them. It's not like they have no budget and they're traveling 8 hours by coach and not getting hotels overnight and all this sort of other stuff.
Different players will be different. McLean drinks the tears and juice. Oh, he does too. He lives off that stuff.
Let the hate flow through you.
That's about the crowd does make I agree.
Yeah.
Hip Karma,
No,
but
it does.
It does. But how much does it make?
Yes.
Does it make 2 goals worth of difference? Because right now it seems like it is for some reason.
Yeah. If you're looking at the statistical data across an entire league, we are an outsider. Our league results are pushing us to the away results are pushing us to the far side of that spectrum. So,
perfect.
Yes.
Perfect example. We just talked about it tonight. Northampton, they scored 5 at home and 5 away. Now, that's not a ton of goals, but they're even. They're scoring home and away the same. There's no – they're not scoring more at home than they are away. That, to me, that makes sense. You should be – I mean, obviously 5 and 5 is not always going to happen. You're not going to be dead even. But, if you're within a couple – you would think you'd be within a couple goals. But to be 11 at home and what are we – what is it away? How many away?
3 or 4.
3 away.
Something like that.
That's insane. Those are insane numbers. And it's not like we're playing, worse teams at home. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know.
George has a different take. He thinks the difference between away and home is the game plan.
I don't see us playing that much different of a game. We line up the same players in the same way and we do the same things. I don't see that. I don't. Now, I'll give him this. Maybe it's the opponent's game plan. that's different? Are they more aggressive at home and we struggle with that? Is that a possibility?
All of them? They're
I
all
don't know.
that different?
I don't
Now,
know.
look, yeah,
It's grasping for I'm grasping for straws, you know.
yeah,
We're just talking. I mean, I don't know. But seriously though, if you look at our game playing home, it doesn't look that different. It just looks a hell of a lot better at home for some reason. We look great at home. But when you
okay.
line up in the exact same way with the exact same players, and then for it to be so different, I don't know. I don't know.
If they're being told to be more defensive away starting
Mm-hmm.
initially, right? Let's just say, or a version of that they're being told to, stick together a bit more, don't risk things too early when away. Would you swap that to play exactly the same style as we play at home if it meant when you lose badly?
Mm-hmm.
You see, I would, because I simply play the numbers. Um, and if you were getting 1.5 points for a draw,
Mm-hmm.
then I can understand playing defensively for a 1.5 away. But if you are playing attack-minded football, in
Mm-hmm.
order to make up for 3 draws, you just need 1 win.
Okay. Well, let
So
me ask you
I
this. Let me ask you this though. In the games that we've lost away, when was our best period? The
always
first
the
10
last
minutes.
20.
First 10 minutes of the match, we look best. We get a chance. We scored a goal against Birmingham. First 10 minutes.
The first
The
10 and
first
the
10
last
minutes.
20, depending
Yeah,
depending on the match. Yeah.
depending on the match. I would say that
Last
was true
15,
about the
last
last
20.
minute. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not. So I don't know that it's necessarily that, because we came out. I mean, Marriott had a chance to score in the 4th minute or 5th minute or something against Stevenage. So we came out. We're attacking, and then they came into the game and scored, and that was it. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Kim, a bit more hoofball away. I see, and I wonder if that's because
The
of the
question is,
way the other teams are playing us.
are we so weak in holding on to the ball that someone pressing us a bit more because they're at home scares us that we need to hoof the ball that much?
I don't know. Good question.
Yeah.
You'd like to think not, but I mean,
Okay.
here's a good point. Good point,
Yeah.
Bruce. We're dealing with small numbers still. One away game was against a club walking the league. One away game was with a lot of rotations and a setup with a lot of pairings not yet in sync, which are both fair points. But it wasn't just, we're not talking just this year. This was a problem last season too. So this is kind of an ongoing thing. It's not just this season. So yeah, let's see. Murray, 4 games at home so far, 4 wins. George, the other thing that probably has a little to do with it is the pitch size is not uniform away, but it's always the same at home. That's a possibility. That's something that I would like to ask a professional footballer that question. How much does the size of the pitch affect you when you're playing? Because when you are at home, and maybe it is just the fact that you know exactly where on the pitch your guy's going to be. You know what I mean? He's there every time, and you know it. You know how far that pass is.
Yeah.
And so maybe the fact that it's 3 yards wider at another place, it looks like he should be in the same spot, and you just, underhit it a little bit, things like that. I wonder. That's a good question. That's a good point.
It goes further than that as well, though, if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
So if you talk about when the pitch is wet, so obviously we had it this weekend.
Yeah. Right.
You will be familiar with which parts of the pitch dry out faster. You'll be familiar with which parts of the pitch hold the water and are more boggy than others. So if you're aware, do not pass out the left side when it's waterlogged or has recently been waterlogged, because it's going to sit there. Your pass isn't going to make it. You just stop making that pass because you know better. You pass it out the other side, whereas the away team does not know that. And they have to go through the water or through bad patches. So yes, there is elements of all of this. So all of these are elements. The ultimate question becomes, why are our results so far askew from other teams? Because we're kind of further out on that margin than a lot of other teams, because all these factors affect the other teams as much as us, because they're a factor for everybody.
Yeah.
But we still lie there.
Hip Karma, work meeting, have to go. Thanks so much for all the work you do, Sheldon. Thank you, Hip Karma. We will see you later. I'll listen to your episode tomorrow with your episode with Ken from this morning. I will check that out. I can't wait to hear it.
Bruce, the question is whether it's an ongoing thing or you all are jumping at shadows of last season. We won last season. We got promoted last season. So I'm not overly concerned about this, but isn't it interesting content?
It is a good topic. Yeah, that's fair.
So look, though, don't take me as this is too negative. Certainly at this stage, it's too early,
right.
But it does show all the signs and hallmarks of last season and the season before a bit as well. But look, even at National League level, we had 60% points at home and 40% away. So even then, there was a bit of a chunk.
That's not.
It's not concerning.
Me, that's normal. That's normal.
I'm not saying it's concerning.
Yeah.
But there again, when you look at the spectrum across the leaderboard, there's a lot of people that are 55, 53, 52 on one side, which then puts it down to an 8% margin. That's still a 20% difference. It's still a significant chunk.
Yeah.
So,
larger pitches will be a disadvantage for Wrexham so long as we're relying on Palmer and Fletcher. I would say yes, and also more than just that. I think we do against certain teams have a speed disadvantage, and it's not just Palmer and Fletcher. It's not just those two. But yes, I take your point, Bruce.
Yeah, both are true, because it depends on the type of team you come up against. Because a larger pitch can be beneficial to us for giving us the space to get long balls into open space for us to run onto. But it can also be a problem if the other team is significantly fast and it helps their style of play, and they can run the ball quicker around us. And then the opposite is also true, that a smaller pitch can be more beneficial to us because it negates our speed issues, but it then makes it harder to get the ball into the box because they can become very compact. They don't have as much space to worry about, so they're closer together. Their defensive duties can be a bit easier, but that does depend on the benefits and positives of the other team, how they play.
Summary here. It's strange that the EFL has different pitch sizes. It is, but if you think of it in these terms, here's some a way an American kind of can look at it and say, okay, that kind of makes sense. Baseball fields in the United States, every single one of them is different. The infield is the same, but the distance for a home run at Yankee Stadium is going to be different than it is at Dodger Stadium, and it's going to be different than it is up in Seattle. all the you've got different size fields in all of those stadiums. Sometimes right field is real short, left field can be short or further. You get some weird configurations in baseball, and so I think when you look at it that way, that's kind of how the pitches are in the NFL or in football. But for a lot of Americans, especially me, I'm used to American football field. It's 100 yards. A basketball court, it's what 80. It was 82 feet, I think, is regulation. Or NBA may be different, but I know at least I think at the high school level, it's like 82 feet is the length of a basketball court. So you get different. Let's see, Marie. Let's see if I'll jump down here because it's a good comment. Our soccer fields are standardized. Are they in the MLS? I don't know that. That could be true. I don't know. I wouldn't know if that's true or not. I don't know if anybody else does for sure.
Glenda, there was a Parky interview after an away game last year where Parky commented on the smaller pitch size causing a problem for the players.
There you go. There's a good point here by George. Pitch size also affects the spacing in which in a turn will affect passing. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, Bruce. MLS soccer fields are not strictly, but the ranges allowed are much tighter. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I did not know that. I don't pay too much attention to the MLS, to be fair. Matt Al. That was Accrington Stanley, Glenda. There you go. So they must have a smaller pitch. I wonder what the size of Stevenage's pitch was as compared to the race course. Just out of curiosity. But yeah, I do wonder. I would be an interesting question to talk to a professional soccer player or football player about whether the pitch size does make that big of a difference to them.
The data is there for the size of the pitches that the clubs use. Mm-hmm. It is something you could do. Go back over the draws and losses and see if the pitch size actually maybe had a statistical variance on the number of points we're getting.
We could look into that for next week if you want.
It's possible.
Something to hit. I could do that. I could look into that if you want me to. We can do that.
Cool.
I'll do that. I'll look into that.
Yeah, people seem interested in commenting on.
It's very it's an interesting topic. I mean, and that was the thing. We're not trying to be negative about our away form. It's just that when you look at the statistics, we do have a much worse away form as compared to what you would expect. So, what are the reasons for that? And we can go down these little rabbit holes, and it's interesting. It's interesting stuff. It really is. Let's see what we got here. Just had a thought that may negative everything I said. Is the lined up portion of the pitch playing surface the same for all pitches?
No. The distance, the length of distance between the goals is standardized. That has to be the same. However, it's the width of the pitch is where you're allowed to have the variance. So you can have additional width. And another thing that we can maybe double check is what is the maximum and minimums that they have on
that. I'll take a dive into that. I'll take a dive into that for our next show, since we kind of got a show where we can kind of dig into some cool stuff.
Okay.
I'll dig into that.
Right. We are now at 1 hour 20. So I still have time. But let's move on because this is the end of the home and away stats for now. Next week, we don't have a match coming up for the weekend. So again, we are going to do some interesting topics. Mostly, I think the first 10 matches in comparison to the other seasons. So, and maybe some extra topics too. So, I will work on that. We'll get the thumbnail up and we'll let you know what's happening as soon as we can on it. We may then add in the pitches if we can do some historical data on that. But let's finish up with our standard. Will we pull up the matches that are coming?
Yes, I will pull those up right now. Just a second.
Okay, Mad Al is saying there are definitely longer pitches. That I will be interested to confirm. My belief is that the length is standardized, but I could be wrong.
All right. So here we go. Saturday. Of course, these are all Eastern Standard Times. So for me, 7:30 a.m. I believe that'll be a 12:30 kickoff in the UK. Huddersfield versus Barnsley. What are we looking for there? Probably, this is going to sound weird, but probably a Huddersfield win. You think a draw? Yeah.
What? I'm going to pull up the league table right beside me here.
Yeah. Huddersfield's down. They're pretty far down right now. Huddersfield are in 15th on 12 points. So a win would put them on 15 points, which would still be 2 behind us, no matter what we did. And Barnsley are on 15 points. So a Huddersfield win would have them both on 15 points.
Yeah,
so that's
I guess
probably
pull
Barnsley back. Yeah. It's a Huddersfield win would be the best.
And failing that, a draw.
Yeah, fair enough. Peterborough and Stevenage. So Peterborough are 11 points and 16th, and Stevenage are 14 points in 9th place. So that's another one where if Peterborough were to beat them, they'd level them up on points. That'd bring them to 14 points.
I still want Peterborough to lose.
Peterborough. Is that thinking ahead?
I don't care who they're playing. Peterborough to lose. No, okay, yes.
Yeah, fair enough.
Technically, yes, Stevenage. Yes.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so Bolton Wanderers at Shrewsbury Town, not Shrewsbury at Bolton.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Shrewsbury.
Yeah, obviously. We want the Shrews to win, which is weird because we don't like them. Burton and Bristol. How about Burton get their first win of the season?
Yeah, maybe.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. It'd be a good result for them. Here's the big one. This is probably the game of the day, I'd say. Charlton and Birmingham. Obviously, we want a Charlton win. Or do we want a Charlton win? That's the question. Are we at the point where we just say, screw it, let Birmingham beat the hell out of everybody? I don't know. I don't know. I think there's an argument to be made to just say Birmingham beat everybody.
Yeah, two sides of the coin. If you think Birmingham are absolutely going to take the league with no issues whatsoever, then let them beat everybody. Yeah, but otherwise, statistically, you want Charlton to win.
Right. Exeter and Cambridge. Obviously, I think we want a Cambridge win there. Lincoln and Leyton Orient. Leighton's in
20th.
Yeah, so Leyton Orient win would be great.
Yeah, Lincoln in 4th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, moving up.
We need to drop a couple of them.
Yeah. Here's an interesting one. Mansfield and Blackpool, probably a draw.
Yeah, they're too close together.
They're both. Well, I guess Mansfield's 17, Blackpool's on 15.
But Blackpool has a game already played extra.
That's true.
So you definitely want Mansfield to lose this.
So you want Mansfield to lose it, not a draw,
Yeah.
or okay? So Mansfield.
Well, statistically, yeah, you want Mansfield to lose it, but in these scenarios, a draw is always good.
Right. Rotherham and Reading.
Reading's in 12th.
Yeah, actually, I think we want a Rotherham win probably because that would put them even with Reading on 13 points.
Yeah.
So, Stockport and Wigan. We want a Wigan win there.
Yeah, definitely.
Wigan win or draw. Wrexham Northampton. Obviously, we want to win that. And then we got Wickham and Crawley. We want Crawley to win that. So,
yeah,
that was a pretty obvious one too. So those are the matches for Saturday. Yeah, nothing too crazy. The match with Charlton and Birmingham will be interesting to see how that goes. I think it's probably the biggest two teams playing each other. The Blackpool match with Mansfield will be interesting because I think that'll be a real test for Mansfield, where they're playing a team that's towards the top of the table.
Yeah, and a real test for both though, because obviously Blackpool have been on a run, and Mansfield are up the top. So, can Blackpool take them out again? So
because Blackpool have beaten some good teams. So they've beaten. They just drew with Lincoln, and then they beat Burton 3-0. Beat Huddersfield 2-0. Beat Charlton 2-1. And then let's see if I can get it to go back a little further. And then the match before that was the first match under Steve Bruce, was a 2-1 win against Exeter. So Steve Bruce took over at Blackpool's, really got them playing really well right now.
Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting matchup. See how that one goes. But all right, well, anything else, Paddy?
No, I think that's it for this week, ladies and gents. Hope you enjoyed that. I hope we had some interesting data for you today. And I hope you enjoyed the thumbnail with McLean twice. I thought it was good.
I have to look at it. I didn't get just to look at it. I got to look at it.
Okay, so guys, I'm going to pull this one comment up because it'll give us an exit to the show. I think we want Birmingham to win regardless. We are 5 off them, so even a win for us and a loss for Birmingham would see us 2 points out, but a win and those chasing us lose, giving us more space. So, on that bombshell, have a good night, everyone. We are out.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.